Hey guys, we're back again with another figure, another new figure, something that I didn't think I was going to get, kind of forgot about it. Also from a company that I have not bought from in a very long time. We've got the new McFarlane Toys Labyrinth Jareth the Goblin King figure. This is the kind of the masquerade ball form. There might be others. I don't know. Like I said, I forgot he was coming out, so I saw him, and I really snatched him up for my wife for her birthday, so I'm trying to get this review in before I have to give it to her. So pretty standard box, big window, some Jim Henson style artwork up at the top, and then we've got a product shot on the back with Jareth with his mask, with the crystal ball, that whole deal. So this is a McFarlane figure. This is in that color tops line. I have no experience with these. I don't have a very high opinion of them, so let's crack them out and take a look. All right, now here is our Jareth the Goblin King out of the box, and like I said, this was a bit of a gift for my wife for her birthday, just something small. And that's not to say that I'm not a fan of Labyrinth myself. I'm a huge fan of this movie. I was definitely interested in getting this figure, even though I forgot about him. When I realized he was out, I immediately jumped on him just so we could have him because I knew she would want him. That said, I'm not huge into the color top stuff. I don't really care for it. They're not really action figures. They sort of are, but they sort of aren't. And I don't usually care for their licenses. So this one was a definite must-have just because of what it is for me. He comes with a few kind of telltale things based off of this particular look. We've got the masquerade mask, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of a demonic looking mask held by like a skeletal hand with some horns. Sculpt on it's pretty nice, and there are some paint apps on here. There's a wash on the hand, and there's some light brown on the wraps on the horns. He's only able to hold it in his right hand, and it's sculpted in such a way that he's really meant to hold it kind of outstretched. It kind of rests in his hand, kind of like this, so it's something that he's holding on to. The back of the package shows that you can put it up to his head. I have, up till now, not really been able to make him do that. You can have him do something kind of like this, where he's got it, and it's positioned away from him, and you're looking at it from the distance, but there's no way that I've found to get it to go right up next to his head. He just doesn't have that kind of articulation. So that's not a huge deal for me. I was planning on having it kind of down at his side anyway, with the focus being on the crystal ball, because that's the bigger accessory in terms of the character. But it's just a little marble type accessory, clear plastic, and it just fits on top of his sculpted left hand. He has no way to actually hold it. It just sits there. And so far I haven't had any issues with it really falling out. I mean, it can, don't get me wrong, it can fall out, but at the same time, like, it's not really going to go anywhere unless you hit this thing pretty hard. So that's good. I'm going to move those aside. He does come with a stand, and I think all color tops come with these. It just says Jim Henson's Labyrinth on it. It's got some kind of sculpted cobblestone type bricks. I like it. He doesn't necessarily need it, because I'm going to take him off. He does stand on his own if you position him right, but he does have a really small footprint because he has heeled boots. But I would rather have the stand than not. Now, as far as the figure itself goes, like I said, color tops, for the most part, they're not really action-y action figures. They have some articulation, but, they're not up there with Marvel Legends or Black Series or anything like that. So as far as articulation goes, his head can swivel, and it goes up and down. The arms can go out, but they're ratcheted, so they only go so far, and then they rotate. There's rotation at the elbow and a single joint, and then it's a similar kind of ratchet style. You can feel it kind of click into place, and then the hands have rotation only. There is a waist twist, which I was surprised to find. It's in there, but it's kind of hard to do. Well, I just popped his leg out. They're just in there with ball joints, and they'll just swivel around at the thigh. The knees also swivel. They have the same style ratchet joints, and then we have rotation at the ankle. So he does have decent articulation, but it's at a very base level. It's not anything too exciting, because ultimately, for this character alone, he's going to be standing pretty much still, holding his accessories, kind of looking off like that. He doesn't need a lot of articulation, so I can understand why he doesn't have it. As far as the sculpt on this guy goes, I think that's where he shines. The sculpt and the paintwork are pretty good. And, being a McFarlane toy, that's kind of what I've always known him for. They aren't exactly what they used to be, but, back in the day, I had tons of McFarlane stuff, and it was always sculpt and paint over articulation. I think this looks pretty close to David Bowie. Something about it doesn't look quite right, but at the same time, when you look at it just the right way, I'm like, that's David Bowie in this movie, and I'm pretty happy about that. The hair is sculpted really well for as wild and crazy as it is. It's got some nice highlights and different paints in there. The jacket is sculpted really, really well with all of the bits and bobs and little baubles that are all over it on the cuffs, on the belt area. It's not really a belt, and then all along the collar and the back. He's just got tons and tons of sculpted detail and a lot of paint work. And everything's really, at least as far as the jacket goes, everything's really metallic. So it stands out really well against the rest of the black on the character. So I think that he looks pretty good. He's just not, action-y. But as far as a figure goes and accomplishing what the character needs, which is basically to stand still, I think they did a pretty good job. That's not to say I'm going to rush out and buy a bunch of Color Tops figures, but I know that there are Dark Crystal figures in the works, and this makes me a little bit more comfortable knowing that they might be able to accomplish those figures just as well as this. I don't know that there are any other Labyrinth figures coming, but I kind of hope there are. So overall, I think he's a pretty decent figure. I'm not blown away by him, but at the same time, for 20 bucks, he's kind of a mini statue that you can pose around a little bit, and that's the way I'm going to look at him. He's not a true action figure for me, but he is pretty cool. And if you are a fan of the Labyrinth, I think it's a must-have. I can't tell you not to get this one. So that's going to do it for this look at the McFarlane Toys Color Tops Jareth the Goblin King from the Labyrinth. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time, everyone.